Thanks for tuning in to the Real Women Chronicles podcast. I am your international certified life coach, Tiadra Taylor. The sole purpose of this podcast is to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. Yes, it's time to break chains and to get unstuck. Thanks again for joining in. Let's begin. Hello and happy new week to each and every one of you guys tuned into the podcast. I am your host. I go by the name of Coach T. Listen, I do recognize that I am getting a lot of followers from my TikTok page, and that is just truly a blessing. Narcissism is one of my most popular topics that I talk about on that page. However, as you know, as time goes on, I'll open the page up to a slew of different topics. But for right now, narcissism seems to be the hot topic, not only on my page, but amongst a lot of us life coaches, psychologists, therapists. So that being said, I wanted to talk about narcissism on this particular episode. And I really want to talk about leaving the narcissist. For those of you who do not know my story, I was with a narcissist for over a decade. When I initially got into the relationship, of course, I didn't know that he was a narcissist. I didn't know anything about narcissism. And I'm sure each and every one of you out there who have dealt with the narcissist before can attest to the fact a lot of times you don't know about this type of condition. So when you encounter a narcissist, it's not easy for you to spot it out. Normally, you end up finding out about narcissism as you begin to study that person more than you study yourself, meaning that this person will be so toxic in your life that you literally, almost in a weird way, create this addiction to trying to figure them out, addiction to trying to make them happy. And the more you try to figure them out, the more you try to find ways to communicate with them, the less successful you are. And so many of us find out about narcissism when we stumble across, just trying to figure out ways to deal with a toxic person, trying to figure out ways to make a relationship work. And then voila, you run across a post like mine or somewhere else, a book or something that tells you that, hey, this person is not your average individual. They're operating in this relationship very different from a normal person. And so that's why myself and many of the clients that I coach, it took us all some time to figure out that, hey, this was a dark person. I hate to say this. This was a person who lacked empathy. This was a person who would never be satisfied no matter what you did. This was a relationship that gets worse with time. That's the thing I want you to understand. A narcissistic relationship does not get better with time. It gets worse with time. And that's why I think it's important for you to get ready for the discard. Get ready for the breakup, because it's going to happen whether you like it or not. Now, here's the key. How frequently it happens is going to be up to you. Because a narcissist is known to come in and out of your life. I mean, they pop in, they love bomb you, they begin to gaslight you, they begin to project, they begin to break from you, and then they discard you. This is their routine. They discard you for a new supply. Now they're on to the next person in the rotation, and the cycle begins again. Until finally, they decide to come back to you. But it's going to be up to you whether or not you are strong enough to stay in that discard phase, whether you discarded them or they discarded you. It is going to be up to you to decide how often you're going to let this narcissistic individual walk in and out of your life. And this is why I want to talk about the breakup, because the breakup's going to happen whether you like it or not, like I said before. And my job as a coach is to try to prepare you for that discard stage, but also help you in your healing process. If you have recently left a narcissist, I want to be here to help you through that. And I know my podcasts are really short and sweet. Even my TikTok videos are very, short and sweet. You only can talk for about 3 minutes, but I'm thankful that they are touching people out there, because that's my sole and intention, is to really make people aware, but more than anything, help people heal. My job is not to sit here and bash people with narcissistic personality disorder. My goal is really to help people recognize them and heal, so that you don't leave that relationship not even being able to recognize yourself. These relationships tear you down. They really come to strip everything you are. And if you're not careful, you will allow that person to come into your life and do that. And you will leave not knowing who you are, not knowing where to go. You will leave many times not having anybody to turn to because they've isolated you. So now it's almost like starting all the way back over. And this is so scary that it drives so many people back into the arms of the very person who broke them in the first place. And they run into the arms of the person who broke them, thinking that this is the fix. And actually, it's not the fix. Let me explain to you a few things about the breakup, okay? And hopefully this will help you. And if it does, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. Let me know that this episode was for you, because I love to hear from my listeners. First thing I want you to understand is that the benefits of being out of this relationship supersede the benefits of being in the relationship. Let me say it again so you get it. The benefits of being outside of this relationship supersedes the benefits of being in the relationship. Most people dealing with a narcissist are not getting what they want in a relationship. You're probably getting maybe 2% of what you want. You're running from being alone, but guess what? You're actually alone within that relationship. You're running from being hurt, but you're constantly being hurt in the relationship. So instead of taking that pain, right, and deciding to face that pain one time, you're staying in that relationship or going back to that person, and you're going to be faced with that pain repetitively. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather face it one time. I'd rather go in that operating room one time than have to go in there 8 times. So I want you to look at that, look at this relationship like that. The benefits of leaving is so much better, because in due time, you regain yourself. You regain your strength. You regain your love for self. I really believe that what the devil uses for bad, God in turn uses for good, because I have not met not one person who successfully left a narcissist who did not end up better from that experience. Yes, it hurt. It hurts going through a relationship like that. It is tormenting. But once you're free, the peace and the joy that you get, the lessons, is almost worth it. I know it sounds crazy, but it's almost worth it. Really. I'm a much powerful coach because of that experience. You will be a much powerful worker, teacher, mother, daughter because of this experience. So that's what I want you to recognize. The second thing that I want to say about the discard/breakup phase of this narcissistic style relationship is many people who are engaged in these narcissistic relationships do not realize that you are holding on to the image of the relationship and not the person. Catch this, okay? Many codependents and empaths want love. You want somebody to hold you. You want somebody to be there for you. That's what you want. That's what you're fighting for. That's what you stayed for. You stayed because you wanted that. But guess what? That feeling that you're wanting can come from other people. That feeling of wanting to be held, wanting to be loved does not have to come from a person that's bringing you down. I want you to separate the two, because that helps us heal when we realize that it's not really the person you're addicted to. It's the feeling that you're addicted to. It's the feeling of wanting to be loved. It's the feeling of wanting to be in a relationship, wanting to be married, wanting to be validated. That's what you're addicted to. That's what you want. And that can come from so many other people. It can come from so many other circumstances. You don't have to get it from him or her, especially if their goal is to keep you vibrating on a low level so that they can control you. Another thing that I want you to understand about this breakup is that this is an addiction, okay? These type of relationships act a lot like substance abuse addictions. So there is a withdrawal process. There's a process where your body and your spirit has to literally detach, because let's be honest, you've created a trauma bond with this person. You've created a spiritual connection with this person. And so now everything has to detach. Not just your physical, but your mental, your spiritual. Everything has to detach. But if you speak to anybody who was once addicted, it's tough at first, yes. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's freedom at the end of the tunnel. But you have to hang in there, and you have to be willing to go through those rough times. You have to be willing to go through that withdrawal stage. Let me explain to you how you become successful and leaving that relationship and staying gone after that discard phase. Is by knowing what you're dealing with. Understand that this narcissistic person is only with you for their benefit. I don't care if you've been in the relationship for 20 years. They are there for their benefit, not yours. They come to you and they gaslight you and they love bomb you and they do all these things to get something in return. They're not doing it because they genuinely love you. They're doing it because they love what you do for them. And they want that back. They want that narcissistic supply back. Because in a sadistic way, they're also addicted to your supply. But not you, honey. So success comes when you just finally call it out for what it is. You spent a lot of time with somebody who genuinely did not know how to love you. You spent time in a relationship that only gets worse with time. You spent time with a person who lacks empathy and does not care when you cry. Make sure that when you're replaying those far and few in between good times, because they're always far and few in between, when you're replaying that, I want you to replay what's really going on. Let's not live in that fantasy no more. Let's live in what's reality. Reality is they're bringing you nothing but pain. Reality is they're constantly inconsistent. Reality is that they're constantly making you feel less than who God created you to be. They don't build you up. They don't support you. They're not there for you when you need them most. This is what a narcissist is. And the more you come to the realization of what you're dealing with, the easier it will become to look toward your future and stop thinking about your past. Everybody's not a narcissist. There are good men and women out here that will love you right. But you have to be willing to let go of something old.